1780, the day the sky went black, and something vanished. I wasn't looking for Tartaria. I was researching one date, May 19th, 1780, the day the sky went black. Not cloudy, not storm dark, black. At noon, across New England and parts of eastern Canada, daylight collapsed into something that felt wrong. People lit candles at midday. Animals returned to their barns. The Connecticut legislature adjourned because representatives couldn't see each other across the room. They called it the dark day. The official explanation: forest fires, smoke, unusual wind patterns, case closed. Except the deeper you look, the less it behaves like smoke. The darkness that moved like a wall. Witnesses didn't describe haze rolling in. They described a curtain being pulled across the sky. Timothy Dwight, future president of Yale, wrote that the darkness was as unusual in its appearance as in its depth. Not gradual, sudden, advancing. At the edges of the blackness, a copper-red glow. That night, the moon rose blood red, and the darkness extended far beyond any known wildfire zone, over 150,000 square miles by some estimates. That's not just smoke, that's something regional, maybe even continental. And then I noticed something else. The timing. 1780 wasn't an isolated event within just a few years of the dark day. 1783. Massive atmospheric haze over Europe. 1783 to 1784. Extreme winters, crop failures. Blood-red skies reported across continents. Official history treats them as separate incidents. Wildfires, a volcanic eruption in Iceland, unusual weather patterns, all clustered inside 5 years. Coincidence? Maybe. But then there's the maps, the name that disappeared before 1780. European maps consistently labeled a vast region across Central and Northern Asia. Tartaria, not a city, not a small province, a massive territorial designation. Dutch maps, French maps, British maps, Russian maps, for centuries. And then, between roughly 1780 and 1820, the name fades. By 1850, it's almost gone, replaced by the Russian Empire, the Qing dynasty, new borders, new narratives. The official explanation? Tartaria was just a vague geographic term. But that's not how cartography usually works. Names don't persist for hundreds of years, and then quietly dissolve without documentation, without transition, without debate, unless something changes dramatically. The inheritance period, 1780 to 1850. Now here's where things get strange. Right after this shift, right after the dark day, right after Tartaria begins fading from maps, monumental architecture explodes across the world, in San Francisco, in Chicago, in Melbourne, in St. Petersburg. Massive domes, stone colonnades, classical facades identical across continents. We're told industrial revolution, colonial ambition, rapid progress. But look closer. Where are the step-by-step construction records? Where are the thousands of photographs of foundations, scaffolding, quarry logistics? For many of these buildings, we have grand opening ceremonies. We have plaques. We have finished photographs. But the building process? Surprisingly thin. And the architectural DNA? Nearly identical across cultures, supposedly separated by distance, politics, and language. It raises an uncomfortable possibility. What if some of these cities weren't built, but inherited? An alternative timeline, just a thought experiment. Imagine this. Before 1780, there existed a large interconnected civilization, not mythic, not futuristic, just advanced enough to build durable infrastructure on a massive scale. Then something happens, 1780 to 1785. Atmospheric catastrophe, conflict, environmental collapse. The skies darken, harvests fail, populations decline or disperse. The infrastructure remains. From 1785 onward, expanding empires move in. They claim, they rename, they redraw maps. Over a few generations, the old identity dissolves. By 1900, the new story is solidified. Tartaria becomes just a geographic term. The buildings become rapid industrial achievements. And the dark day, just smoke. The question: no one asks if Tartaria was insignificant. Why did its name dominate maps for centuries? If these structures were built rapidly in the 1800s, why is the documentation so incomplete compared to modern projects? If the atmospheric events were unrelated, why do they cluster so tightly in time? And here's the part that keeps me awake. Why is there so much resistance to even asking these questions? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe forest fires really did cause the dark day. Maybe rapid construction was simply human brilliance. Maybe Tartaria was never a civilization at all. Maybe. But when you walk through old districts, when you stand beneath massive stone domes and classical facades that predate modern infrastructure, you can feel it. Something doesn't quite fit. Stone remains. Maps change. Narratives evolve. The dark day is documented. The maps are documented. The architecture is still standing. What's missing is the connection. May 19th, 1780. The sky went black, and within a generation, a name vanished. What are we not being told about that decade? Look at your own city. Find its oldest monumental structure. Ask when it was built. Then ask how. If you've noticed patterns, unusual architecture, missing records, strange timelines, write it below. Because history isn't just what survives, it's what's allowed to be remembered. And sometimes, the smoke clears, but the silence stays. Duat, Dund.